Can I beat Brock in Pokemon Red Randomizer without destroying my car in LEGO City Undercover? LEGO City Undercover cars are notorious for exploding at the most inopportune times. So will I be able to speed my way through the first areas of Pokemon before an untimely explosion? The two games I'm playing have link controls, meaning, for example, when I go left in Pokemon, I will go left in LEGO Grand Theft Auto. And I dropped a LEGO brick on the gas pedal of my car because we're all about going fast here. So the only way to slow down is to manually brake or throw whatever I'm driving in reverse. Let's get into it. Things start off pretty good. I start out by kindly asking this person if I can drive their car, and then I run them over. I avoid a tram that was honestly in my way and make it to a wide bridge with a lot of room to move around on before performing an absolute blunder. I ran into an officer of the LEGO law. I had to make a quick getaway because if they find out I'm playing Pokemon Red Randomizer behind the wheel, I'm going to be shut away in LEGO prison for sure. After making that incredibly fast and exciting getaway, I navigate my way through Pallet Town, run into a few more light posts, and get a look at the 3 starters for this randomizer. Poliwrath, Mr. Mime, and oh no, I picked Mr. Mime. Why did I do that? Okay, well, maybe that last one it's a Machamp, of course it is. The rival starter ended up being re-randomized into Horsey, which honestly is worse with this moveset that is absolute garbage. But I somehow make it through it and start on my way up to Viridian when I run into a potted plant. And in my efforts to correct it and keep walking up the route, I run into another potted plant and my car explodes. Okay. That was a pretty good run, I must say. I learned a lot, like don't run into LEGO officers of the law and don't pick Mr. Mime as your starter. 2 very important things. I also learned that my car had awful steering and I needed something with a little more agility. And you know what? I found exactly what I wanted. And this definitely wasn't a situation where I just picked the very first thing that I saw. So I went to town in my new little pink car. I naturally started tearing up the roads. I tell you what, things were going great. I really felt one with my car as we went off-roading and I went to the park with it and we went swimming, but it turns out cars and bodies of water don't exactly mix. So unfortunately, this run was over before I even got my starter, not you. Alright, so hear me out. What if we go even smaller? I stole this person's skateboard. But then I spent way more time than I'm willing to admit trying to figure out how to make the skateboard go. So I gave up on it and stole this lady's Segway instead. And my goodness, did this thing have the agility I've been looking for this entire time. It turned on a dime at full speed. This might, in fact, and I know I've said this before, be the run. I got Poliwrath and rival picked Mr. Mime that he ended up trading to his grandfather for a Wigglytuff with Psybeam so he could knock me out easier. But it doesn't really matter anyways. We're just trying to get this show on the road so I can get to Brock. I progress up Route 1 carefully and methodically guiding my Segway around town, and I get to the mark, the furthest I've gotten so far, when the absolute unthinkable happens. I run into not one knee-high wall, but 2 knee-high walls, blowing up my beloved Segway. So then I jump into this monster truck and almost immediately wreck it. No! No, keep turning! No! That is such a good vehicle. Okay. So then I just get into the closest vehicle I can find, which is this satellite van, because I mean, does it really even matter? And I start driving, choosing Machamp as my starter this time, just to see what it's got on it, and it's an okay moveset, but the rival has this Vaporeon that knows Swift and Boomerang, and well, that's that. I make it back to the mart and still have half the health of the satellite van, so I think we're actually doing pretty good. The van is slow enough that it's easy to drive, and it's not as squirrely as a Segway was, so I'm not turning completely around if I take 2 steps in Pokemon. I make it all the way back down to Oak, deliver the parcel, and I chose to fight wild encounters along the way, and unfortunately, while I'm distracted with this Snorlax's sweet XP, I run into the side of this bridge. So now I'm down to 1 heart, and I haven't yet made it to the forest. But this is the furthest we've made it, and the forest has a lot more straightaways than Route 1 does, so this might still be doable. So I finally make it to Viridian Forest, and I arrive at Bluebell National Park at the same time in Grand Theft Auto. And, well, this happens. Okay, now we're just going, no, 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 not the cliff, not the cliff, no! No! So, that's another thing learned. Don't drive off of cliffs, or I guess avoid the national park would be more appropriate. Anyways, I swim back to land, and you know the drill by this point. I steal someone's car, drive around a bunch while trying not to drive into things while running this errand for Oak. But this time, when I make it to Viridian Forest, I still have 3/4 of my health left. I still have 3 hearts. I'm starting to learn the little nuances I need to play by, like, A is mapped to brake in LEGO Theft Auto, so battles are a good spot to focus on driving and get to a spot with wide open areas. And running into cars is absolutely fine. I just need to avoid real trees, walls, and buildings. So like I said earlier, Viridian Forest is a pretty easy cakewalk because of all the straightaways, and I went against the last bug catcher that, by the way, has a Moltres, and I've just come to expect this trainer to have legendaries or pseudo-legendaries on his team. Anyways, just so you can see how blessed this run is, I jumped down off the road into a weird shopping basement district thing and take no damage. We're doing pretty good. And then I run into the LEGO store twice and still take no damage. And we're almost to Brock. I think we got this. As I'm swirling around in Grand Theft Undercover, Brock sends out a Dugtrio that, right out of the gate, explodes all over Machamp, doing some pretty decent damage. But as long as his ace isn't too bulky... Oh. So I resorted to trying to waste Brock's time with poisoning so he'd spam full heal. But we miss a poison chance, and his Marowak just uses Slash and knocks me out. So then I was like, hey, let me fight this junior trainer for experience. And so I battled him, and he starts with a Rhydon. Why is my randomizer like this? So Rhydon resists both of Machamp's attacking moves, and Rhydon has a Dizzy Punch, which by itself isn't too bad, but if it confuses Machamp, it won't be good. And then I drive into a building, so now I'm down to 2 hearts. I'm down to half health. Thanks to poisoning, Machamp finally knocks out the Rhydon, and then the junior trainer sends out a Diglett that Machamp surprisingly and thankfully one-shots because I too was poisoned. And can we just point out that Brock's gym effectively turned into a ground-type gym? Rhydon, Diglett, Dugtrio, and Marowak. Why are my randomizers so consistent? For once, I just want the third bug catcher to have something without a 600 base stat total, and for Brock to maybe be a little easy. Anyways, we come back and we fight Brock, and on my 3rd attempt, we get the win. Victory! But, you remember what I said earlier about the A button being mapped to brake? Yeah, I didn't like that. It felt too easy. So I decided I'd do this run all over again, fixing that. Instead of A being mapped to brake, it was going to be mapped to something completely different. In LEGO City Undercover, there's a red brick. For those that don't frequent LEGO games, red bricks are like optional bonus settings. Anyways, there's a red brick that gives all vehicles the nitrous boost ability. So, what I did was mapped A in Pokemon to the nitrous boost button in LEGO City Undercover, meaning anytime I press A, we go really fast. So I steal some guy's car and run him over, and it's immediately evident that this run just got even more chaotic. Anytime I'm in dialogue or in a situation where I spam A, we'll be boosting a lot. And I have this habit of spamming A in all Pokemon games. No matter what I'm doing, I'm just spamming A. It's just something that I do. So that's just going to add to it. I picked Machamp as my starter again, hoping for similar luck against Brock as last time. And as I'm leaving Pallet Town, I somehow expertly turn and drive straight into this pole that's out here by itself. So I have half health going into the national park, which I said I was never going to drive into again, but my confidence was way too high after that last run, and I just knew that I could do it. So I speed through the national park, bringing Oak his parcel back, weaving in and out of traffic while boosting, and I mean, I have to admit, it does look pretty sick. Up until I turn way too sharp and flip my car over. Learning from my mistakes, as I do, on my very next attempt, I drive back through the national park and drive off a cliff. My car doesn't explode, but it does get stuck, so I just hit it a bunch until it breaks. Okay, for real this time, I'm getting out of the national park and never coming back. But as I'm leaving the national park on my very next attempt, I run into a pole and a random building taking me down to half health. This park has gadded out for me. I do something a little bit different this run and pick Poliwrath as my starter. I remember it starts with Ice Beam, which is super effective against literally all of Brock's ground type gym and the bug catcher's Moltres. Something I didn't really think about too is its starting access to bind Thunder Wave and stalling opponents out. This is actually not really too bad of a starter. However, as I'm coming back from running Oak's errand for like the 10th time today, a set of stairs jumps right out in front of me and my car explodes. But I think we have a good strategy now, or at least a set of rules to abide by for maximum efficiency. Number 1, don't run into LEGO officers of the law. Number 2, don't pick Mr. Mime as your starter. Number 3, get something with agility. Number 4, don't drive off of cliffs. Number 5, avoid national parks. And number 6, always trust in Poliwrath. So I jump into the driver's seat of a super agile street sweeper, and we start this run with a newfound determination. I choose Poliwrath, the one true option, and we face off against the rival, putting him into a bind loop. While in this battle, I managed to get on the open freeway and ended up across town back to the bridge to the national park, but I stop and turn around. Not today, national park. Not today. Getting back to Oak with his parcel, my street sweeper still has full health, which is huge. Leaving Pallet Town again, we do lose 1 heart to this ankle-high curb, but we're already halfway through the hardest navigation of the run. This could be it. This could be the run. But then I stop to heal and lose another heart. And then lose a 3rd heart shortly after that before even making it to Viridian Forest. I think the Street Sweeper might be too slow for this challenge. Like I've mentioned before, Viridian Forest is pretty easy as it's just straightaways with very little side-to-side movement. As I approach Bowcatcher number 3, I'm starting to enter the national park from the other side this time, but I'm not going to chance it with only 1 heart. I turn around and head back for Cherry Hill. The fight against Bugcatcher number 3 is an absolute breeze. Ice Beam is super effective against Moltres because fire doesn't resist ice in Generation 1, and we're able to 2-hit the Moltres and speed our way into Pewter City. I don't stop to heal as I approach Cherry Hill and Brock. My Poliwrath still has really good health and the confidence of Ice Beam. And so, we challenge Brock. Ice Beam isn't quite a one-hit against Dugtrio that goes for Thrash, but we knock it out with Payday on the very next turn since Brock doesn't have any HP healing items. We then face off against his ace, Marowak. Ice Beam leaves just a little sliver of health, but we get a lucky freeze, making Brock waste a turn with a full heal, securing us the victory. We did it! We beat Brock while driving in LEGO City Undercover and not completely destroying my car. What a wild ride, dude. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone who watches my really dumb videos. If you do want to watch the full run, I'll be uploading that to my channel within the next few days, to the challenge run playlist. That'll be linked in the description below. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope 2023 is great to you. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.